right, guys. Hi, hello. My name is Stefan.
And I'm Kevin.
And we are two gays.
And this is a podcast.
Hi, welcome. So, do you want to go ahead and take it over?
You can go for it.
Okay. We want to thank everyone for attending our live Twitch recording. If you weren't able to catch us live and are listening in on one of our podcast services, we'd also like to thank you for your support. As a reminder, House Marin 918 hosts Two Gays in a Podcast live on Twitch Friday nights. Well, actually now it's Thursday nights. Every other Thursday at 8 p.m. and is available for digital download for streaming on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. We would also like to thank our editor, Kai Koto Editing, for editing our really awesome, she's a really awesome editor, so for editing. But today's topic is going to be Arizona, as well as we have kind of a new segment we're trying to do. It is kind of our pre-topic chat and basically like our weekly chat. So this week on. So what sorts of things are, like, what's going on in your week? What's new? What's happening?
Not a whole bunch. Just working as always. We are starting to, of course, kind of go into public places a little bit more here and there now that, we're seeing kind of some better vaccinations and everything. So we went to go see Black Widow.
We did.
Which was fantastic. What else? Oh, I repurchased Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda, which I haven't played in a couple years, and so I'm playing that again, and it's as addicting as it first was.
Absolutely.
So that's really fun. What else? Let's see.
Oh, okay. I got you, Leanna. I'm not gonna try and mess with the editing anymore. I've been told not to, so. But yeah, so what else?
That's about it. I think that, when you have a corporate career, the weeks start to be the exact same.
No, yeah, I
week
totally
after
get
week
that.
after week. So I'm like, what have I done? And it's like, I've worked. But how about you? Anything new on your end?
Nothing new on my end per se. I'm still messing with the sound. For some reason, it seems like lots going on. So Maul said literally watching the fam playing Hyrule Warrior, you Zelda nerds. Yeah, absolutely. Kev's more into Zelda than I am, I would say, but definitely nerddom here, if you will. Yeah. What's new in my week? I have been doing a lot of writing. Hi, Aaron. I've been doing a lot of writing, a lot of drawing. If you haven't seen, for my Pokemon region, I'm going to be doing something really cool with that as part of my creative endeavors. I got a lot of Aztec books because I'm rewriting an Aztec story that I wrote when I was in college. And for all of you lovely viewers, kind of getting insight into what's going on with that, basically it is just a Disney princess story, basically, that is Aztec princess. So it's like Disney meets Aztec meets all of those different kinds of things that I personally love and would love to see kind of represented. We have The Emperor's New Groove, which is a really great movie, but that's kind of a part of it. So I'm super excited. Oh, good, Rabbity. I'm so glad you're able to join us.
Yeah, I like the Thursday move. I think that's going to be really beneficial for everyone. And
yeah, so long as I can get the mics working.
Who knows? There's always something.
It seems like even yesterday or Tuesday, my video wasn't working. Something's like not working every time or something. I feel like, unfortunately, but that's like the showbiz. If you don't have like an AV person
constantly taking care of it, yeah.
But we're small. We're starting out. This is only episode 5.
We're local at this point.
We're local. Which, speaking of local, moving into our topic today. So a lot of our topics we try to like be hip, relevant, up to date with everything. And I say that like I'm 49,000 years old, but I'm 28. We are 28. So it kind of is like, what topics are cool. And I honestly wanted to kind of dedicate a topic to Arizona just because I feel like there's a lot to be said about our fair state and a lot to be said about really just how we grew up here, why I'm choosing to stay here, why you're willing to stay here. But yeah, I mean, what would be like your pros and cons if you were explaining Arizona to somebody?
Well, first of all, I think it's really rare to, honestly, I think it's rare to this day to meet someone who was like born and raised in Arizona and is still here. Usually people move here from California or other places, or people that I've grown up with, peace out as soon as they can.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the pros of Arizona, it's cheap.
Well,
for the most, was cheap. Now it's getting a little rough, but I think for the most part it was affordable as much as we could see, and the fall time and the winter time and some of the springtime is definitely really, really nice. And I feel like growing up here, I still have a lot of friends that do live here, even though quite a few left. And so it's kind of nice to stay centralized and kind of see the state kind of grow up with us, because it's definitely a different state than what it was when we were younger. Cons, well, we already know the cons. The 110 plus degree weather. And obviously there's different cities and regions in Arizona that are cooler and stuff like that, but the heat definitely is not my favorite.
Yeah, well, and it's so funny because, like, this is coming at a really interesting time in terms of how, like, we're in the middle of monsoon season, very early. We're experiencing just all sorts of really kind of crazy weather patterns, which neither here nor there to talk about with this topic, but it is hot and it's unbearable until it becomes a different season, and then you like forget about it. So it's always really funny because like I'll be in the middle of summer and being like, I can't wait for it to end, and then we go into like our nice season, and then we get cold in December, and I'm like, I can't stand how cold it gets here. I don't like the cold personally.
I love it.
But
yeah.
You really like the cold. I mean, at least there's Flagstaff though, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, Flagstaff I enjoy. I spent a year in college there, and Flagstaff I'd say was pretty tame compared to most places when it comes to snow and it comes to everything, but for cold, I feel like you can keep putting layers on, you can keep doing things, but when you're too hot, there's nothing like, if you're too hot, you can remove as much clothes as you can until you can't.
Sound like my dad. You sound like my dad.
But it's true though. I mean, also like the heat is like not good for the human body. It's not. I feel like the summers here are such a blur because like part of it is so miserable, and because Arizona for some reason SRP and APS are like, oh, peak hours, let's do.
Oh God, I hate peak hours.
Turn your air off for 4 hours during the hottest part of the day.
Not even 4. It's like literally 6 at this
point. They're making it worse. I remember it being 2.
Yep.
When I first started paying for like SRP back in like 2011, 2012, and to this point, it's like, oh, like peak out, and I get it. It's understandable because it's the hottest part, so they're trying to like conserve it, but like they charge you out the ass to stay like comfortable.
Absolutely.
And so it's the point, it's like, do I want to spend a lot of money and not be miserable, or do I want to save only a little bit of money really,
right,
and be absolutely like sweating in my house?
Yeah. Yeah. And we've got some chat going on here. So on chat, we've got Big Unit who's saying 8 p.m. Thursdays are great. So fantastic. I mean, we already are looking at a lot more viewers than we do on a Friday night. So that's super awesome. So I'm glad that everybody's really receptive of that. So thank you. It's going to be every other Thursday. So we won't stream next Thursday because we'll be prepping to go to Denver, which will be really fun because you get to meet a lot of my family. So super duper excited about that. But we will be back the next following Thursday. And then we've got Mall's Splendor saying, my boyfriend is from England. I have a newfound view of Arizona through his eyes. He loves it here, so now I have this new appreciation for all of that, the ventures that AZ has to offer. Absolutely, and we're going to be getting into that a little bit more here in a second. Leanna says AZ cold and northern states cold are two different
Right.
worlds. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I still can't stand the cold. Like I really can't. Like even when it gets super cold here, I like my biggest thing. So you're right. You can put more layers on. You can put more layers on, but there becomes a point when like you're so cold that you can't move your fingertips, and like to me that is worse than laying sprawled out like buck naked on your bed and like trying to cool down. Because you can like drink cold water, you can kind of like there's things that you can do, and like air conditioning exists, but I feel like even with like I don't know, I would much rather be like exhausted and hot than like curled up and frozen. But I will say that's probably partly because back in like 2000 and oh god, was that 2017? I got sick and had like some sort of flu, and everybody knows this story, I think. Mama B, who's in the chat right now, will tell you because I bitched to her every single day that this was going on. I had symptoms of arthritis and nobody could diagnose me with what it was, but the colder I got, the like literally I couldn't move my joints.
Yeah.
It was weird. They basically told me that it was like a flu that like gave me on early onset arthritis and then it went away. Like I have not had the issue in forever, so the cold really stings for me.
Yeah, is it? Yeah, that's.
It's so weird.
That's
Like,
weird.
don't ask me questions about it because I'm an anomaly, and we should have like put me on, not Dr. Phil, but something like that. But that's like actually good.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, the hot makes me sick.
Yeah.
Like, and I think, I don't know what it is, but like, I just run hot as a human to begin with.
You do.
And, you know, I'm an Aries, which is a fire sign. I'm technically, if we talk about the Avatar world, I'd be considered a firebender. In Ayurvedic medicine, I'm a Pitta, which is fire-based. So it's like, I just run hot. So
you do.
Being hot in the heat is just, it's miserable. And it's not so much like, yes, I'm sweating and stuff like that, but it screws with my mind. It makes me like, it's just irritable.
I don't know that I've ever noticed that.
I mean, that's why summers are rough.
Oh, really?
But the cold never, I mean, I've never had to deal with like terrible cold, like weather at all, which, you know, my opinion may change when that happens. But I remember in Flagstaff, I was living with two people that they had a PT Cruiser, and the PT Cruiser was just like it's been through some stuff, and it's also a PT Cruiser,
right?
So it got stuck in ice, and so I, being the helpful Eagle Scout that I was in there trying to like get it undone. And I didn't get frostbite or anything like that, but my hands and feet were definitely numb to the point where like I went into the bathtub and was like, hopefully I can feel feeling in the next 5 minutes, you know, or I have to go to the hospital. But I would prefer that than any day.
That's so funny because okay, so Aaron in chat said screw peak hours, which absolutely, and then MJ said summer AZ equals swamp booty and heat rash. You're right. You're absolutely right. However, I feel like statistically speaking, I don't know these statistics. I didn't research them ahead of time. But as far as me being a person in the summer and taking care of me, like drinking enough water, staying as cool as possible, that's super duper easy than the winter where it could be frozen over, frosted over, roads where people could just like accidents happen and that kind of shit happens.
Yeah.
Although we get the monsoon season and nobody fucking here knows how to drive. So nobody in Arizona, first of all, nobody in Arizona knows how to drive, period, according to me. I am a great driver. I've never been in any accidents. Do I take risks? Absolutely. Have I gotten better? Yes, actually. I've gotten much better since when I first met you.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Yeah, rain here, I think it's so funny because we have monsoon season and we do have rain. It's definitely not a lot, but the moment rain happens, which I get happy for, but yeah, the streets and the roads just get, I feel like everyone drops like 20 IQ points in
which
the rain.
puts them in negatives.
Which is wild because, like, it's, you drive the same, just be on your guard. Like, yes, if there's, like, water, like, up there, then do that. But, like, and so I just remember, like, when I used to have to drive to work, if it was raining, it's like I have to add another 45 minutes onto my commute because people either are speeding and going crazy and getting into crashes or going, like, 20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And it's like, ugh.
Well, and then we get, I don't know if this is, like, I don't think it's, like, a derogatory term. I hope it's not. But, like, we get I won't call them what we call them, but we get a lot of people who are from out of state who are of a different generation than us. Like, not just our parents' generation, but, like, above my parents' generation. Maybe your parents' generation. Above that? Yeah, above that. Who live in a specific area of town that decide that they're going to spend the winters here and drive 20 miles below the speed limit.
It's
horrible. You can like, it's nice weather and you want to go cruising, but you're stuck behind a freaking Lincoln boat going 35 on the 65 freeway.
Yeah, it's really interesting that, like, and we see so many, like, it gets so congested on the streets because of that. I remember when I used to work at Starbucks in Mesa, it would be, my apartment would be, like, on this one road, maybe 10 miles away, and then my Starbucks. So I'm just on one road, which was nice. But during the wintertime, it would take, like, half an hour to go 10 miles. And it was bad. And then that's when I kind of first started working there. So I'm like, why is this commute so crazy? And then once the summer hit, it was like 15 minutes. And I was like, what is it? I was like, oh. Got a little too hot for some people. So.
Well, and the other thing about it is it's like, growing up here, for me, like, West Side was, like, such a small community. Like, I'm in touch with people who I went to fucking kindergarten with. Like, just because, like, that's just how close-knit we are. I always say that, like, especially West Side, like, it's a small town feel, but not a small town mentality. We have in chat, Mama B says, me too, I'd rather be cold than hot. Aaron says, we just got rain today, even, and yesterday morning. Mama B also said, one of the only places where you have driving habits from 20 different states driving on one road. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know what's so funny about this? I was like, oh, this topic's going to be fun, but it might be a little bit boring as far as chat goes. But we have a lot of native Arizonans. And even in Arizona, you have, like, the Flagstaff people, the Phoenix people, Mama B, shout out, the Tucson people, like, the Yuma people, the Globe people, the, like, Maricopa people. Like, it's just crazy how, like, how spread out it is.
Yeah.
But even growing up, like, queer and, like, gay, like, I feel like just the city itself is very welcoming to that. In my eyes, like, Phoenix at least. I mean, we have, like, Roosevelt area where I feel like that's, like, gay town, if you will. And I feel like it's, I don't know. To me, I was in a little bit of a bubble, though, I guess.
Yeah, I'm, like, kind of an opposite bubble of me. But, like, because I grew up in East Valley, which is really, really religious, it definitely was something that was, like, taboo.
That's right. Okay, because you grew up, and I have to remember, you grew up in a different part of the city. Okay, so, like, even for me, like, Central Phoenix and, like, the greater Phoenix metropolitan area is literally, like, Tempe, Scottsdale, and anything west of that until, like, Avondale. That, to me, is, like, centralized. That's, like, Phoenix. Yeah. When you get into, like, Mesa, Gilbert, they're, like, their literal own, like, entities.
It feels like a different state, for sure.
It's so weird.
It's really interesting. Even, like, Scottsdale feels like a different, like, in that area.
Yeah, in that area, it does feel very different.
I definitely, like, I grew up in Mesa, and then I kind of, like, jumped around. Like, I went to Flagstaff for a year, but then I lived in Mesa again. I went to Gilbert. I went to Queen Creek. I went to Santan Valley. So, like, I kept going east. And then I moved kind of back to the Tempe, Chandler and Tempe area. And it kind of just stays in that little thing. It definitely, like, improved and got worse in some areas, but go moving into Phoenix a year ago, it's definitely like, oh, is this not? It's it's a different culture entirely.
I mean, we went out to one of my go-to bars when we first met, and like we're able to like be all, you know, chummy, I guess you could say.
Absolutely.
You know, and dance with each other and hold hands, and the little Latinas at the freaking bar were like, yeah, that was cute. I remember that. They were like super happy, and then their like cholo husbands were like, and it's like. I didn't feel like they were gonna freaking like attack us. They were just kind of there, but like they were probably my cousins I didn't even know about. You know, I'm not gonna. Yeah, that's just kind of how. But that's fucking how it is, because I go anywhere. I step 10 feet out of my goddamn house and I'm seeing my cousin. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's hilarious. My cousin, somebody I went to high school with, somebody I went to college with, somebody went like.
Yeah, that's crazy, and that's not normal over in East Valley at all.
And I'm happy to see them, which is also even more different than that.
My my group of friends like kind of just dispersed, and like I talked to some really close people from high school still, but going to college at ASU and like not being part of like a dorm or a fraternity or anything like that, I didn't really meet like college friends because the classes are so large. And then like all of my friends either went to different colleges or they went out of state, or they like just moved anyway. So it's interesting to see the difference between even the two parts of the valley. Right. Because it's
Well, and that's like the thing, because like it baffles me when people are like, yeah, I don't know anybody from my. You know, and it makes it like they always say it with such disdain. I don't talk to anybody from high school, and it's like
it's weird that that's such a like stigma about it. It's like, okay,
like
cool.
I was in my formative years with these fucking people. I went to school with some of the people from when I was 5 years old to that's 13 years of my life.
Yeah,
like I watched these people grow up. And, like, I always feel bad because I'm like, it feels like I'm holding on to, like, the glory days. But at the end of the day, I'm like, no, I don't know. Like, I watched them go through good, bad, ugly, indifferent. They watched me do that. We became adults. And some of them I went, you know what I mean? Like, I don't mind. Like, I'm talking to one of my friends who's watching my chats on our watching stream. And I'm like, dude, let's go grab coffee sometime. Catch up. Like, you know, just hang out and, like, kind of reintroduce myself to you and to me as far as, like, he's a dad now and married somebody that we went to high school with. Like, and I love that. Like, everybody has a story, and but I'm a fucking golden retriever, right? Like, I'm the person who, like, I'll sit down and have coffee with whoever. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I set up the red table because I'm here to, like, talk and chat and, like, have meaningful, deep conversations. Like, where are you at with your journey? And so
it's my school was completely different because like also because I went to a really like big like Mormon high school,
right?
Lots of guys went on their mission,
right?
And that kind of like just separates everyone big time just because they're gone for 2 years while everyone else is just kind of doing it. But when everyone is LDS, it's like they all kind of do that together. But it was interesting because like I was a big like music person in college and choir especially, and like many of my choir peers were LDS, so like I went to college and they went to college too, but then like they went to college for a year, went on their mission, and then so like everyone just kind of like dispersed everywhere. And it's interesting just because I was very like introverted. I still am, but like introverted even in high school and stuff like that. Just kind of kept to myself. So I had friends in the things that I did. So like choir, band, and all that stuff. And I had a really close group. And then just kind of at the end of high school, I still had a close group of friends that I stuck in touch with, but like everyone else it didn't really continue. And it wasn't like out of spite. It may have been, who knows, but it just kind of happened that way.
Yeah, I think I think that's part of growing up, right? Is like realizing that you are not the same person. The glory days or whatever are gone. Like, whatever. Like, I get that. But, like, obviously that difference is so interesting because, like, I have to realize I'm in, like, a fucking bubble. But I'm also not even just in a bubble. I'm also, like, a separate type of person. Yeah. You know what I mean? Which is so, like, I'm so unique and different. No. But, like, kind of. I mean, like, you know, I'll freaking put on my Facebook after this. Like, if anybody in town who knows me or otherwise wants to grab a cup of coffee someday, I'll go grab a cup of coffee with them. Like, it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of the culture that I grew up around, you know, and this whole thing. And part of it, I think, was, like, really funnily kind of going back on some topics that we've already talked about. Like, when I grew up, I remember, like, people being so disgusted by people having a lot of friends and being like, I don't have a lot of friends. I just have 2 close friends that I, you know, talk to. Or, you know, I don't say, this was the biggest fucking thing. I remember back in the day when people were like, I don't say I love you to everybody because then it loses its meaning. And so it, like, triggered me, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I love everybody. I'm going to say I love you to whoever, however, whenever I can. Because you never know.
You love those people that drive 20 miles an hour?
Fuck those people. But also, no, but, like, part of it's, like my people. Like, I might not have seen you in 13 years. I love you. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because what else would I, like, I want to give that. And I think that, like, people are like, oh, you spread your love too thin. It's like, no, that's like the one thing in this universe. The one thing in this universe that's, like, infinite. Like, if you can count on anything being infinite, we just got really fucking deep here real quick. That's some good vodka. That's some good shit.
I poured it pretty heavy.
But anyways, yeah. But that's what I think. But like I said, like, you know, like, let's take a look at the chat. Let's ask the chat. I mean, you see,
let's let the audience decide.
Big Unit out here who is calling me, trying to tell me what the hell is happening. So I appreciate you for that if you're still here. Cousin, you know, happens. You've got Mall Splendors, who I have known for 5-6 years now, you know, through my prior career, my prior profession. You've got Leanna, who I've known since 2013? 8 years. MJ, who I've known for about the same time, about 8 years. Mama B, who I've known because she's stepmom. Erin, who we've known because of prior work friends whom are related, and now our roommate, which is really awesome, and helping us with stream. You know, that's just a part of it. Yeah, MJ, see, there's the purple heart right there. Who else is in here? Rabbity, I don't know what Rabbity, you're in here, maybe. I want to say you've told me who you are, but sometimes it's tough when I don't see your actual name. But I know you probably. Like, you know, I don't know. It's a cool community. But I get it because it's unique and different to everybody.
Yeah, I feel like my high school was definitely, like, cliquey, and you were only popular if you did certain things or if you were a part of certain religions or if you... So, like, as a person, for me, I feel like I wouldn't say an outcast, but I definitely was not the norm when it came to it. Like, I was in color guard, I was in marching band, and like, for me, band was kind of like the cult within the school, but, like, a good
we're
cult.
Not a cult.
But I felt my family closest to band, but even then, like, I don't keep in touch. I think that I think everyone just kind of did their own thing, and, like, that might be on me too. I'm an only child, and so I'm keeping to myself is, like, my nature, just because I had to do it for 18 years anyway.
Absolutely.
So it kind of just depends. I feel like a lot of people with, like, siblings like that are just kind of, they do that kind of stuff. And then for me, it's like I have close friends, and I don't, like, think it's weird that people have lots of friends, but it's just something that just didn't happen with me.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. I get that. Well, and we've got MJ out here asking us to coffee, which that's a definite yes. We just got to figure it out because 100% you love MJ. And then Leanna said ditto, which, Leanna, whenever you and the fam are here, or we can come up to rural New York, let's fucking do it. But on top of that, so this is something that I don't think Mama B knows just yet because I just found out about it today. Small world, my cousin, Megadeth, we'll call her, Megadeth, she is a teacher at one of my old elementary schools. Her vice principal is one of my old teachers who has a son who was one of my brother's best friends. I don't want to dox anybody on here, so that's why I'm kind of being... So we can talk later. But, like, small fucking world.
Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're all chill. Like, you know what I mean? So, but anyways, that's about growing up and all of that. Like, just the different kind of components. Like, I wouldn't even say it's East versus South. I just think it's different experiences.
I'd say it's East versus
and
South.
If you're listening to this, you're my friend, and you are wanting to grab a cup of coffee, let's go to Dutch Bros because Oh, she knew it already because she's already up on the chisme. If anybody's up on chisme, it's freaking Mama B. Mama B is the one who is sipping the tea, ready to spill it with whomever, however, wherever. So there's that. Leanna said, no, if we're doing coffee, we're coming down because there's no Dutch here. Absolutely. You know me and my Dutch Bros. But moving on to places of interest. What are, like, your favorite places here in Arizona?
They're not going to be yours for sure.
I mean, they might be. I don't think we've ever talked about this.
Well, anywhere foresty.
Already wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
So part of my growing up was actually in Payson. I never like lived there, but all of my family besides my like mom and dad lived in Payson. So we'd always go up there for like 4th of July. We go up there for Christmas. We go up there for basically every holiday just because my grandparents, my aunt and uncles lived up there a little bit and all that stuff. And there's something about those small like towns in the forest that I absolutely adore. Payson's a little bit too cowboy for me, and it still is, but it's nice. It's quiet, and I think that's what I like about it. Is one of my favorite sounds in the whole world is the winds like rustling through the pines.
That's Oklahoma, but that's
but there's something so great about it, and I've had I love it, and I think that I've had a lot of time up there to really like figure out myself and everything.
Okay.
There was a week, I think I was like 12, like 6th grade going into 7th grade, where I lived up there for like a week just by myself with my grandma. But like she would do her thing and I would just do my own thing. So I'd like walk in the woods by myself and all of that, which like looking back at that, I was like, oh wow, probably
okay, Little Red Riding
probably
Hood.
Not the best. But yeah, I would go like, she had this like, they lived on so if you go to Payson, there's like the main city part, but then if you drive up the mountain there, there's like houses up there, and that's where she lived. And so if you walk to the back, like she lived on a cul-de-sac, so if you go there, then there's this huge hiking trail literally in her backyard. And so yeah, you just go there and just walk in the woods, and you'd barely see anyone because it's not really like a public like hiking place. So it was just great. And so I think that's what kind of got me loving kind of nature and stuff like that. The Grand Canyon, I did Havasupai. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was probably one of the coolest experiences I had, was going down inside the Grand Canyon, the Havasupai Trail, going to like the waterfalls in there. There's this little restaurant down at the bottom in the reservation there, and they made the best Navajo tacos I've ever had in my entire life. Like I would go down there, I would hike the 10-mile trek down there just for another taco. Well, they probably don't make it vegan, but yeah, the Grand Canyon's wonderful. I think there's so many cool like forests and like springs and all of this stuff that a lot of people don't even think about when they think about Arizona, which is great. Yeah, I really love the foresty part. I think that I went to NAU for a year, And I came down because of like my major and all of that stuff, but being up in the woods and kind of feeling that energy and in that elevation, I think that was my favorite part of Arizona. Absolutely.
You're so wrong. Like you
No,
told me.
I'm
No.
very correct. Are you
What
kidding
you said
me?
that mine would be different than yours.
You said you don't want to be up there.
Oh, but no, I love it up there. I've told you I love it up there. I told you that I don't want to live in the winter up there.
It's not that bad. It's really not that bad. I was in shorts walking to my classes. I got yelled at by my opera teacher saying that, like, you're going to get sick. And I'm like, it's fine.
I'm going to get sick up there.
No.
So,
actually, you get sick.
I get sick up there like that. No, I love Flagstaff. I love Flagstaff. But one thing that I love more than Flagstaff is Sedona. Sedona is
right.
my shit. Like, I love Sedona. Like, when we were trying to get away for that weekend, I was like, I really want to fucking go get a cabin in Sedona or Flagstaff or whatever and take the girls up there.
Yeah.
And be able to enjoy the time with them up there. And we didn't end up doing that, which was unfortunate, but that's what I love. I love the Grand Canyon, but Mama B, help me out. We went to, or you can help me out, the cave.
The lava
tube.
The lava tube. That was fun.
And the lava tube was super fucking awesome.
That's really cool. Yeah. Oh, and Jerome. Jerome. So, okay, I'll tell everyone my ghost story about Jerome.
Do it.
So, this was the first time I believed in, like, ghosts and spirits, for a while now. But this is the first time that I had, like, an actual, like, interaction with it, like a physical one. So, Jerome, if people don't know, Jerome is up north, and it used to be a big copper mine. And so there's still probably copper everywhere, but there's been a lot of deaths up there because copper mining was absolutely the most
atrocious,
so dangerous. And like I went on like a ghost tour and they would tell us like all the things that happened, and I was like, oh my god. It was crazy. But Jerome is like this tiny town on a hill that is so small, but when I stepped out of the car, it feels like as busy as a city, like energy wise. And so we went up there. I went up there in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jesus, that was like 6 years ago. So we get up there. It's like cloudy and a little eerie. And so we actually stay in the Jerome Grand Hotel, which is the old hospital.
Right.
And so we get there and it's cloudy and eerie. And we get there and the concierge at the front is like this most aloof person I've ever met, and I'm like, are you doing this on purpose or are you just like this? And probably he's just like that if you're working there. So we kind of talked to him about it, and he's like, yeah, like take everything with a grain of salt, but like we have a lot of people say a lot of things, and it may just be because the energy and everyone's hyped and everyone's hypersensitive to things and they think it's something, but we have things, and we have like if you tell us your stories, we could probably say like, yeah, that's happened to other people. So we were like, okay, that's cool. We believe it. And so we took a ghost tour there, which was one of the best ghost tours I've ever had. I highly recommend doing a ghost tour if you ever go to Jerome. And they didn't do like, are you here now? Like, can you say your name? They basically gave us like the monitors and stuff and said, okay, I'm going to give you just the history about Jerome, and we're going to go around and say, like, this is blah, 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 blah. And it was just crazy stuff. Like, this used to be a bordello. This used to be, like, a jail that they put people in. This is where, like, the hot magma from the copper mines, like, killed, like, 10 people because it just accidentally spilled over.
This was the brothel.
This was the...
I'm just kidding.
This is the second brothel. There was, like, 4 of them there. But the history is so rich and crazy, and so during this whole time, the meters were just going crazy, and the meters, I was like, all right, whatever. Like, there's copper everywhere. Who knows what's happening? And someone, or the person, the leader, was like, this is where they like kept prisoners and stuff. And if you put your thing there and you put it down there, it would just go psycho. And so it was really weird. And then the last place they took us to was the cathedral in Jerome. And you go in there and you're like, I cannot breathe. It was so suffocating there. And the guy told us like he felt a presence try to like kill him there, which is wild. But anyway, so the ghost tour was amazing. learned so much about the city, like felt a lot of crazy energy. It was also raining that night. So it would go like crazy raining and then stop, and then crazy raining and then stop. It was wild. We get back to the hotel, and it's like 11 at night. I keep the TV on, and then my girlfriend at the time, were we engaged? Fiance? No, we were married. Just kidding. My wife at the time, she went to sleep. I like stayed up a little bit just to like kind of make sure everything was okay. I kept the TV on, lights were on. I end up falling asleep. I wake up, the most like woken up, energetic I've ever felt at like 2:30 in the morning. And like I've never woken up like, it was just like I'm up, 100% energy. And I'm laying in bed and I'm just kind of like looking around, and then like it feels like something's there, but who knows, right? So I'm like, all right, I'm just tired. And I feel my hair get pulled like that. Like not hard, but just kind of like, oh, hair. And so like, and it was the weirdest feeling ever because it felt like cold hand just kind of like pulling it, like, oh, fun. And so I just like am laying there and I'm like, okay, cool. That's gonna be it. All right. And so I just stayed there and then fell asleep, woke back up, told her about it, and then we went down to the concierge, and he's like, oh yeah, you were sleeping in the pediatric suite. So it was probably a kid like playing with your hair. And I was like, oh, okay, yikes. And then we think something followed me or like chased or like kept with me, because we stayed the next night in Sedona, and we were both so exhausted. Like, we didn't even do anything in Sedona. We just slept, like, that whole day because we were so tired. And I remember at, like, midnight or 1 in the morning during that night, I woke up and I saw this, like, figure come to my, like, bedside. And then, like, he was there and then, like, left. And then I started feeling like I had morphine in my system. So in my brain, I'm like, oh, a doctor gave me morphine. Yeah, it was really creepy. We had to do, like, a whole, like...
cleanse.
An entire cleanse. It was wild. But it was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. And like that day I was like, yep, there's no doubt in my mind that's like that there's some shit in Jerome.
Do you have any other experiences like that? Because maybe we'll make that another topic for a podcast where we talk about like our spirit. Okay, I mean, okay, let's do that next time. But okay. That's a story for another time.
Yeah.
But it's so true, and I'm like, he's talked to me about wanting to go, and I'm like, I don't want to go because I am very spiritually sensitive. Like, I have connected with things that are ridiculous, which we'll get in. Let's do next episode. We'll talk about like our spiritual journeys because it's insane. But I will not go to Jerome for that reason, because I feel like for me, it's just one of those things where like I come out the fucking Scarlet Witch chaotic magic at the end of it all. Like, quite frankly, I'm that attuned and connected to it. It's ridiculous.
Well, that was even before that I like kind of went on my like spiritual journeys with my chakras and on like all of that stuff. That was way before all of that. So I'm curious to see what happens. But I think it's because of all that copper. Because copper is in a semiconductor, right? So like all of that energy, because what spirits are energy. And so all of that copper is just keeping all the energy trapped there instead of like letting it out. And so it's insane. So that's one of the reasons why I love Arizona, is because we have some crazy ass history.
Oh yeah, like, there's mines we went to down in Tucson, I believe, and Mama B, if you're still in chat, my brain is eluding me where we've gone, but there's a lot of places. Like, the thing is, the really cool thing about Phoenix and why, like, kind of segueing into our last topic of Arizona, but part of it is like Phoenix is centralized to a lot of really cool things. You know, you want to go to Colorado, it's a 2.5 hour flight or 14-hour drive. You want to go to Vegas, 5 hours. You want to go to the beach, let's go catch a wave, 5 hours. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all of these things are super duper easy to get to, and it was affordable. Now, moving into some of our, like, the last part about it, like, Arizona's becoming so, like, crazy grown. Like,
yeah.
Like, we tried to purchase a house prior to me not losing, I didn't lose it, I left my prior job. And, we could have gotten into a house, but 1 week we're like, we qualify, but I still have my house, so I have to sell it. And they're like, well, you kind of have to sell it in order for you to try and get into a new one. And it's like, but the new one won't be ready for 7.5 months, and you're contingent on me, like, you can't, like, my house is gonna sell. Like, don't worry about my house selling. But I can't, what?
Yeah.
What?
I think people are realizing, like, Arizona is, like, a pretty a decent place to live. And, you know, the summer and heat aside, like, it's only 4 months out of the
It is
12.
only 4 months out of the year.
And I would say, like, you know, the falls and winters are just divine here. And so I can understand why people want to move here. And it's also way cheaper than California.
Oh my
cheaper
God.
than Colorado. Texas, I think people move here from Texas to get a little bit better.
Texas's income, or their tax rates and all the shit for their properties skyrocketed the last year.
I bet. Oh, because
it's
everyone
ridiculous.
Moved there. Yeah. Well,
and then because of all of the shit that was going on with the weather and the frozen pipes and, like, all of it. This is not a come to fucking Arizona and live here by any stretch of the imagination or means, because, like, I would like to stay cheap here. It's just fucking awesome to live here, and I don't think Arizona gets enough rap. I think that there's a lot of negativity around it for ignorant people and some
I think we're starting,
ways of thinking, and
I
it's
think
not
we're starting
great.
to see that change, which is nice.
Oh, yeah.
I never thought Arizona would be as, like, it's becoming very, like, queer friendly, which is really nice, because it used to, at least in my experiences, it was not. And so now I feel more comfortable, you know, going out with a male fiance and just being myself now too, which is great. I think it's good. I mean, we're a blue state now, so that's really, really wonderful. So we're seeing things happen better for Arizona. So as much as I hate the heat, it's like, okay, we're actually becoming a pretty decent state. We still have our issues, we still have our faults, but I think that the more that we have people our age, a little bit older, a little bit younger, you know, voting for what's right, voting for what's correct, and kind of making the state better in all aspects, I think we can really make this a really wonderful place. But let's just keep the fucking housing market decent.
Hold on, sorry.
I disagree.
Oh no. Sorry, I know. I was trying to do something here because we're getting close to ending stream. Yeah, you're not wrong in that tangent, and I think it's getting a lot better, and I think, you know, that's part of the reason, because we've talked about, like, maybe we should move to Denver, maybe we should move to California, maybe we should do these moves, because you can move anywhere, and my biggest thing is, like, House Marin as a brand has a lot to state that we are here we're here as a brand to pull in people for Phoenix and Arizona. Like, that's what it is. Mm-hmm. Mama B said, if you had to live somewhere else, where would you live? I would try to get us to Denver. Or Chicago. Chicago's like rural Chicago, because I do like rural Chicago based on, like, where I've been with Holly and Ryan. And even just Chicago living is not super terrible. I really enjoyed it when I was out there. But if we realistically moved somewhere that was more both of our paces, I may bite the bullet and say Flagstaff. The hard part for me is, like, there's a couple of hard parts. So, like, for me, my family is all down here in Phoenix, in the greater Phoenix area. Like, Mama B and all of our family are literally within 30 minutes of a drive for any of us. I'm such an extrovert that, like, living in a small town would be very suffocating for me and would be really tough. And so I while Flagstaff would be really perfect, it's just not big enough of a city for me that I would feel comfortable living there, which is why best of both worlds, because I have family out there, and because of that, I would say Denver.
Yeah.
And so Mama B, if you're listening and you're trying to move out to Denver, you let us know. But
my work already has people living in Colorado.
But at the same time, like, I don't want to leave, because for me, like, it's really important to build the brand here and to be one of the first people that's saying, we're here, we're creators, we're trying to do something unique and different that you would see in LA, that you would see in San Diego, you would see in San Francisco, you would see over there, but it's building it here in a place that has really been used in a way. And so that's, I think about that and I'm like, this is why I want to live here. Aaron said, as someone who lived at least in Colorado Springs, Denver was nice to be around when I would hang with my people from college. Absolutely. And I loved it. Oh my God, I love Denver. I love Denver. But, the navigating is so easy for me here. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I feel like I'm reached a point where I can no longer start new somewhere. And Malls said, don't leave me. And then Mama B said, you could move to Platteville, Pops. That's what he said. No, Platteville's that's a small town too. I mean, the last time we were gone, we're going to Platteville, by the way, when we'll have to show him all the places. You guys drive.
Did you have, last thing, because I had a city and or place in mind where it's like, if I'm never going to be in like a long-term relationship, I'm going to move here and seclude myself from everyone. Did you have a place in mind for that? Denver? Yeah,
there was a point where like I was going to go live with my cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah, where I was like, screw it, I'll go live with my cousin who's like a month younger than me and go live with him and try to like live my life like that. But that or live with Holly and Ryan in Chicago and follow my two best friends out there. Like that would have been the ultimate plan, is if I could have afforded it, and like if I was doing what I was doing now but wasn't so gung-ho about House Marin being Arizona based, I'd be in Chicago. And if I didn't have you, I'd be in Chicago for sure. If I didn't have it would be really rough with the Velociraptors, but they'd manage. I'd manage them easily.
They can get an apartment on their own.
I know.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where we stand on Arizona. I love it. I really do. I hate it for when I hate it, but I do love living here. I think that there's enough new, enough old. Downtown's ugly as shit though, because it was built in the 80s and it's all 80s architecture. Did you know that? Did you know that's why downtown's so ugly?
Well, also Phoenix was for like criminals. That everyone in like this
is not Australia.
No, I'm serious. In Jerome and in Flagstaff and all that stuff, at least from the history I've read, they would send like their criminals and their bad people to Phoenix.
This is hell. I'm already here.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like really off screen. We're already here. I love it. Yeah, so I mean, does anybody have any other questions? We are gonna go on a raid to go visit some frenzy friends. I'm gonna be single forever, so I'll just live. Oh yeah, no. So what were you?
I had it dead set in my mind that I was gonna move to Okinawa, Japan.
Oh.
I was I'm gonna open up a little karate dojo on Okinawa and just live there and be secluded from everything. And then I looked up how much that would cost, and I was like, maybe not.
Yeah, I love Estes Park, such a beautiful place. Yeah, and Mama B said Estes would be a potential. Yeah, I think that would be some place that we should go for sure. But that was me with South Korea. Yeah, absolutely. Different places.
Korea. Yeah, I was thinking South Korea too. I was like, Okinawa actually has a lot of like cool dojos and stuff. So I was looking at that and I was like, it'd be cool just to be a random dude just living in Okinawa, chilling in a
just
dojo.
A rando?
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
I have to learn Japanese though, and that's very difficult. But Duolingo.
Duolingo, I can't with you. He said, I tried learning Spanish on Duolingo.
No, Spanish is fine on Duolingo. I was trying to learn Japanese on Duolingo, and it was rough.
I don't know that I would have been able to do any of that, so more power to you, I guess.
Oh, Ireland. Ireland would be really cool, too.
Yeah, that's the question of the night. So because of Mama B, where would you move to if you, and Where would you move to if you had to move? / where is your place that you would want to go?
Where
would you seclude?
Yeah, if you had to live in isolation, where would it be? The moon. Move to the moon.
Move to the moon. Okay. Okay, Martian Manhunter or whatever. All right, let's go ahead and get this raid set up here. I'm trying to figure out who we can go to for some good vibes here tonight to go and raid somebody whomst we haven't raided. I have not raided Mother Moon at all. Aaron, you have a raid idea? Absolutely. Who is it that we can raid? So basically, if you haven't been around before, what we do is we do share our love for our community to someone else who is currently streaming, which is why I was trying to figure that out earlier. Basically, you don't have to stay with them. I know, yeah, we'll get to that in a second. You don't have to stay watching them, but we do try to bring it over. You can follow that person if you want to watch them more, but it does help with us showing that we are a community, also going over to another community and supporting them. Her name is Pearl Aran, super cool girl cosplayer and post vibes. Yeah, let's. Is she on right now? Oh yeah. Yeah, they're playing ever something. This looks interesting. So yeah, let's go ahead and raid Pearl Aran. I already love her vibes. So yeah, it looks like they're playing an indie action game, Everhood. But again, thank you guys so much for joining us here tonight. Part of our outro here. Again, we want to thank everybody for joining us and being able to be here on the live and chatting with us.
Make sure you get your merch, right? House Marin merch, amazing, comfy.
They are very
classy.
comfy.
I love it. It feels real good. Yeah, and also make sure to, if you're watching us on YouTube, right, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Ring that bell.
Ring the bell for notifications. We'll be doing this every other week on Thursdays now. It'll be really exciting. We're going to keep with the new topics, and it's going to be a good old-fashioned time.
Absolutely. HouseMarin.com for all of your House Marin merch. And again, HouseMarin918 on Twitch here for super cool, cozy vibes. Twitch. I will be live tomorrow at 10 a.m. and playing some more Pokemans.
Yeah,
so
watch it
thank
while
you.
you work. That's what I do. It's really nice. And you
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to go ahead and get on over and raid. Bye.
Bye.